2023 version of the Trailblazers Connect, which is uniting some of the brightest minds in Liberia to create a platform that influences positive change in Liberia. The Trailblazers Connect is hosted by myself and Mrs. Gracie Segway. Before we go into it, before we get started, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back to introduce you to some of our change makers here today. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Grace Baba, founder of Destiny Creative Organization and owner at Trailblazers Snacks. You are watching the 1847 show. The 1847 show celebrates you, me, and all things Liberian. Follow the 1847 show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. The 1847 show, all things Liberian. Hello, my name is Grace Baba, founder of Destiny Creative Organization and owner at Trailblazers Snacks. You are watching the 1847 show. The 1847 show celebrates you, me, and all things Liberian. Follow the 1847 show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. The 1847 show, all things Liberian.
All right, so welcome back, guys. We're going to go ahead and get started. So let me bring some of our participants today on the show. Hello, ma'am. And Mr. Wesley, whenever you can please turn on your camera. And Mrs. Tukwa. All right. Can you guys hear me? New, can you hear me as well?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Mr. Wesley, I know you're there. If you can turn on your camera, then we can bring you to the main screen. All right. So today, pretty much all we're trying to do is we've gathered some of, give me 1 second. There's another person trying to join. All right, Mr. Jones, are you there? Would you be able to turn on your camera for us?
Yeah, I'm here. Are you getting me? Hello?
Yes, but could you turn on your camera for us?
Yeah, I'm trying to set that up. So,
All right, no worries. So thank you guys for joining. Again, this is the second anniversary of the Trailblazers Connect. And our goal here today is to pretty much create a platform where change makers or trailblazers from across Liberia can meet to not only be able to network, but to also be able to motivate each other. So today, the goal here is that the story of one person will inspire that of another. So sometimes we just fail to remember how powerful our stories are, especially those of us who are trying to do something bigger than ourselves. So that's the message, that's the intent behind the Trailblazers Connect. So if you have a story here today, the goal is to tell it in a way that for people who are participating and people who are, um, one second, someone else is trying to join. People who are participating and people who are also in the audience can be able to benefit from your story as well, because there's a lot of power to our story, and we want to preach that message here today. So uh, we're gonna get started, but instead of introducing ourselves, we're gonna do um, a little icebreaker. So the icebreaker is each of us will define what a trailblazer means to us, and then after that, then we'll go ahead and into the introduction. So we'll start with you, Ms. Newell. What does being a trailblazer mean? How would you define a trailblazer?
Okay, thank you. From my own research and the definition I had on a trailblazer, there are people who start something that no one have ever done, and that thing that started like probably you started an initiative where no one has done that initiative in order to follow the footstep of you.
Okay. Okay. So someone who has done something not seen before, is that correct? Awesome. Uh, Mr. Wesley, do you want to go ahead and tell us your definition of a trailblazer?
So hi everyone. Sorry, I'm grateful we are here. So a trailblazer is someone who is an innovator, someone who goes ahead and start up an idea, usually um, something that is new, something that is not common, and something that has a greater benefit for others. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. So now we have, again, the internet is really bad. So we have a couple people that are trying to join, but they keep going on and off. But thank you guys for your definition. They're all correct. There is no right or wrong definition as long as it's something about people trying to better themselves or better their society. So very powerful. And so I want to share two definitions, and those definitions are pretty much about what the show or the event defines a trailblazer to be. So one definition is from myself, and then the other is from our co-host Grace Trauma Bagua, who's also trying to join, but her internet is really failing her. So the first definition is, which is hers. It says persevere despite societal challenges. So these are people who are willing to press forward despite the fact that they are faced with many, many, many challenges. Some of these challenges can be some from their families, some from the society, but they're still pressing forward. They're not making excuses, and they're trying their best to be better. So those are who we she defined as a trailblazer. My definition of a trailblazer is those willing to go ahead and clear the path for others, sometimes mostly knowing that they might not benefit. So the idea is I'm doing this not for myself, maybe not even for my family, but I see there is a need for me to go ahead because no one has done this before. Like Mr. Wesley said, I need to go ahead and clear the path. If you're bringing a road into the village the first time, you know, some of the reasons why it takes forever for that road to be constructed is because it's never been done before. There is no clear path. So somebody has to be willing to go ahead and clear the path. So that's why I define as a change maker the person who is willing to clear that path, knowing that by the time they're done clearing the path, they might be sick, they might die, and they might not even be able to benefit from the construction of the road. That's a trailblazer. So some of us here today, our stories that we share kind of surrounds that, kind of tells us about what that looks like in a practical sense. So that's why we're here today. So we're going to go ahead and introduce ourselves now. And as you're introducing yourself, remember that you're trying to introduce yourself in a way that shows you're a trailblazer. So one of the things you can do is tell us what you're involved in. So we'll start with you, Mr. Wesley. So just tell us what you're involved in and how does that translate to your definition of being a trailblazer?
Thank you very much. I'm Yadamno Antonio Wesley. I am the founder and program director at VASA. VASA is an advocacy and human development organization. Since 2020, we've been involved in advocacy for youth productivity, and we've been championing the cause of preventing youth exposure from substance abuse. As we look through the Liberian society, substance abuse is one of the most intriguing issues that is hampering growth and development of youth and adolescents in Liberia. And so we've been involved with all of the challenges, in spite of all of the challenges, we've been involved in working to ensure that youth are prevented from substance abuse through community-based engagement. Recently, we launched the Strong Family program that has been helping to work with families, work with family members to ensure that family values, standards are set. Because as we look back, the war did many harm, and one of those is destroying the family organization. So we've been working to restore that, and with the help of God, we're doing our best. So
Awesome.
that's me. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll go to you, Ms. Newell. If you can introduce yourself and tell the audience how your definition of a trailblazer fits in line with what you do.
Okay, thank you. My name is David, and I'm from Liberia. It is a social media. So I started to establishment when I saw that the social media, which was first created for everyone to connect, it was not in accordance to the initial establishment. So research like came to be for other people to be popular, but
Her internet it's really breaking up.
Yeah.
So we'll switch to Mr. Williams. Uh, can you still hear us?
um,
Right.
Yes. So her internet is really bad right now, and it's bothering her introduction. So let's see if we can bring somebody else. Mr. Jones, would you be able to introduce yourself? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm getting you. I hope my internet isn't that bad.
We all
Yeah.
suffer from this. Yeah.
Yeah, internet is a major issue. Yeah. So anyway, I'm Chris B. Jones. I'm one of the co-founders at Easy Market. We we have worked in the process of revolutionizing how retail is done, how SMEs sell to people. Again, this opportunity to be on the stage as a trailblazer for me is talking more about what we have done all the period. Introducing something that is not popular among our people or a lot of people are not involved in. But we say there should be a new way to do this, and a way that along that way you can empower businesses, but also create jobs opportunity for a lot of young people. So before we started Easy Market, of course, there were, there was actually no major infrastructure in place for operation like ours, for retail e-commerce or for businesses to sell online in a more structured format. Everything else was just social media and we are the brick to mortar way of doing things. Or easy market, we are introduced how now businesses in remote counties and people across Montserrat is selling to Liberians in Belgium, Germany, Spain. So we just introduced this platform that connected our Liberian diaspora with the people on ground in Liberia. Also, they are supporting their families here, businesses, is selling to these people outside all the diverse locations. So for me, being a trailblazer is a big thing because we said that it's possible for the technology to work in this regard, and it's happening. So we're proud of what we are doing and want to do more to get a lot of Liberians involved in the whole e-commerce space and empower our businesses of like we currently do.
Awesome. And thank God your internet permitted you to give an introduction without disruption. So you're
I
one
was
of,
surprised.
yeah, you're one of our guest speakers here today. And what you're doing, my man, I've interviewed you on the platform before, and it's very powerful. So you just take the next 5 to 10 minutes and tell the audience a bit about some of the challenges that you've had and why you kept persevering and how that has benefited you to date and to bring you where you are.
Yeah, so I hope the internet don't mess this up again. Personally, there have been multiple challenges for me, of course. I always thought of myself as someone that want to bring about change. But also, how I wanted to do that, has always been around technology. But surprisingly, so my dad wasn't fond of that. My parents thought that everyone I want to be involved in technology is just doing tap and print. That's how I saw it. If you go to, there's a place called World Trade Center in Moravia. So everybody thought if you say technology and me going tap and print. So yeah, my dad say he wants to support me to do that. I should do medical science. So I had to go to University of Bureau to, of course, sign up for the biology department, everything else. But my energy wasn't there. Although I was scoring a grades, but it was also a pin on my side. I know actually, if I do this, if I continue the path, there's not what I want to do. So it brought a serious place in my family. I had to make my own commitment to say, if I know this, what I want to do, I can move in that direction. So at a point, there was no family support. You know, Everything else about how I navigated my way towards what I'm doing currently. I always been my own drive and passion and determination, trying to meet a lot of people. Building networks. It's been a very long road, but growing a path that your family say you're doing everything wrong, they won't support you for that. Over the years I've been taught. Yeah, but later on they came to realize that what I've been years and what I've been pushing is actually a good path. Later on, they reconcile with my effort. But I feel a lot of young people wouldn't able to take that hard route because if you don't have parental support in Liberia, basically means you're not going to continue longer, right? It was a tough journey for me, but at the end of the day, I have to persevere for what, for me, great is very important. My commitment, but also my passion towards everything I do was important. So I navigated my way throughout the ecosystem for what we're doing with technology. Even before we started Easy Market, I've always been, because I knew that if I would continue in this direction, it means I had to build my knowledge, build my network, meet people. So I always involved in everything else concerning technology, concerning learning, concerning research. I've always been around. And that's how over the years I managed to build the knowledge I needed, the ecosystem of people to support me, you know, until late around 2019 November before we launched the idea of Easy Market. It's been a long journey, a very lonely one, of course. Many nights we have to walk long distances because no transport, no food to eat. Plenty of terrible things that every young people in Liberia have gone through all the period. And a lot of people still going through it. But I just like to tell many people that this journey, many young people already having similar issues like ours. Times that you have to sleep or have food, but you always have to try. For me, the most important thing I always been internet, right? I have to get online and learn something important. That was my goal every time. And personally, before we start using market. So if the one thing I must do in a day is to learn, use the internet, read session. So I don't really care about any other personal things, unless personal development and building networks and researching at different hackathons, even. So over the years, I built that for myself personally. So now these days, when I meet a lot of young people that are saying, "Oh, I don't have support," I'm not in the best institutions. I feel that the internet has done a lot for us. That more opportunity available to you to learn, to meet people, to explore. So for me, it's a testament of my own struggle that I've developed what I'm doing currently from the internet and for my ability to, and willingness to learn, of course, and meeting people that have supported me over the years. It's a tough journey, a very lonely one. I know a lot of young people will not be able to do anything that like what I've done. Multiple days and nights, you gotta go sleepless, stay working a day and night. Even currently, that energy I brought into market that we work 24/7, 7 days a week. You go to church, you come back, gotta do some research. So it's a long journey, very tough one. But so even around how we started the idea of an easy market. So somewhere around January 2019, I thought about, I do a lot of research and I said, well, why would every international report say that Liberia don't have the infrastructure needed to do e-commerce? Liberia have low skill, development for tech exposure or creative, taking advantage of technology, right? So I was like, if there's any one thing I want to do is to be part of that change to see how we can take advantage of the internet. If that's to even employ one people and one person self to do how we started Easy Market. Initially, our idea was about launching an e-commerce platform purely for businesses to sell agricultural product online. But along the way, we thought of there are more needs for the buyers. So that's how we expanded Easy Market to do more of what we're offering currently. But it's been a very lonely journey for me. So that's it.
Okay. Okay. Does anyone here have a question for Mr. Chris? Any question about his journey, how he was able to accomplish some of those struggles, anything like that? Okay. Does anyone here have a question for Mr. Chris? Okay. So one of the questions I have for you, Mr. Jones, is you did something, like you said, that has never been done before. Opening an e-commerce platform in Liberia. That's the ultimate definition of who a trailblazer is. Now, what was the perception of, you already talked about your family, but the people that you tried to bring on board to work with you, what was their perception? Did they believe in the vision, or did you first have to go by yourself to discover the way before people started to follow?
Yeah, so that's a very good point. What happened earlier on? I work with a colleague, right? During that time, it was me and one of my friends that were doing this. But again, because e-commerce, so a lot is around logistics, so we needed support, we needed financial support to do this. So in Liberia, that's the big part of starting anything is very slow. So we took the whole of 2019, meeting people, engaging people, talking to people about the idea, nobody listening. So luckily for us, it was around November of 2019, almost the end of the year, meeting people every day, trying to convince someone that e-commerce is possible. This can happen. Everybody say Liberia is not ready. A lot of people complain about the infrastructure issue. People say the internet was costly. People said that Liberia are not ready. The low skill set knowledge to do this. Plenty negative thing was around why we found it difficult to even respond. The whole year along 2019 was in November before. Luckily, we met our current co-founder, and you said, "Oh, it's a good idea, right?" And that's how we got our first funding to start Easy Market. Along the way, although we have the funding now, we needed to get Liberians to use the platform. It took about 5 months before the first order can come on Easy Market. In that period, when we meet any Liberian business person, they say, "No, you want to steal from me, right? No, I'm not just any Liberian platform." Or meet, we ask them, we meet any other business, Is it? Yeah. So there was a big trust issue, a big gap between what people were using market from the user point of view. Businesses were, businesses they don't trust easy market. They say they don't do anything but online business. One Steve on them. Like first perception business here. For all the change that man said it take a long time. Then the Liberian users, everyone like, I think I go online for say I prefer to go in the store, the supermarket to buy. So our whole business model was very difficult, and that's why maybe everybody said it possible because to convince a buyer to buy online instead of going to the supermarket, that was a big if. Then the business people don't even use the platform to sell, they said no because they didn't trust us. They said because again, people saw that was a young Liberian boss, then even and say come online to sell, so they didn't trust us. That was the issue, but luckily, again, I won't say COVID was a good thing for the whole world, but in our case, it was a eye opener and also a tool for us to penetrate the market. So when COVID hit in 2020 alone, March, April, when it did a lockdown here, that was very good for us because all the people that wanted to go in the supermarket to buy now, they were to the houses, right?
You couldn't go
All
anywhere.
yeah, so they were forced, especially the expat community, all the diplomats and most of our Liberian middle class people that say they wanted to go in the supermarket. Now the supermarket were forced to partner with us. They quickly come to us. They build our users to locally. They try to get involved. But along the way, the big community that always supported us have been the diaspora, the Liberian outside. Without them, easy market will not be where we are currently. So the diaspora community have always been our biggest and backbone. You know, a lot of them are big brothers and big sisters to me. They mentor a lot. But I love the way they supported easy market. And without the diaspora community, we will not come to be where we are currently.
Yeah. I think within any trailblazing journey, the biggest distinguishing factor is the fact that you're going to have challenges. If you don't have challenges, you're probably not a trailblazer. If everything is going smoothly, you're probably a pastor's son. You're not a trailblazer. So yeah, but thank you for sharing your journey as always, my man. It's very inspiring, and I know that you guys are, still have much more to accomplish, and what you have done is amazing. But what is there to do is still much more. So keep persevering and keep moving. But does anyone have other questions for Mr. Jones? All right, so we'll bring on Ms. Grace Baba, who is the other host here for the show today. Her internet has not been permitting her. So go ahead, Grace. You can introduce yourself. Thank you for joining. If you're speaking, I think you're on mute. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? I don't think she can. But anyways, Ms. Newell, you tried introducing yourself, but your internet was not permitting. Do you want to give it a shot again?
Okay, let me say good afternoon for my end. Thanks for the God. I share some music. I don't know.
You're good. You're good. We can hear you now.
Hello.
Mhm. Oh no, hold on, Grace. She's
I'm
introducing.
hearing you.
We'll
I
bring
don't
you
know
back.
if you are.
Go ahead, Ms. Newell. Can you hear me?
I'm not muted.
Ms. Newell, can you hear us? All right, Mr. Williams, you can go ahead.
I don't know it's the network. Hello.
Yes. Hello.
Hello. Am I clear? Are you hearing me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hey, Liberian internet. Hello.
Wow. Hello, sir. Finally.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr.
Yeah,
Supervisor. Just introduce yourself.
yeah. I
What you
don't
do
know
there.
if I'm clear enough because for my end, everyone's speaking.
Go ahead. Mhm.
Okay, so hello everyone. I'm Florence Kamaratopa and I'm a Liberian
Wow,
and I'm glad to be a trailblazer. I'm the founder of Women Led Organization and the CEO of Flourish Cakes and Pastries.
hello.
So that's just a bit about myself. I'm married with a kid, happily married.
Wow.
So, how do you
I'm not
define a
like
trailblazer,
everyone's
and
speaking. I'm not
what about your
understanding. I don't know
definition
what's happening.
uh, tells your story? What do you
Prince,
think a
are you getting
trailblazer
me?
is?
A trailblazer to me is someone making huge impact to people around and making an impact that people can feel tangible impact.
Okay, awesome. Grace, are
Prince,
you still
are
there?
you hearing me? I don't know.
I'm hearing you, Grace.
I am. Speaking, but I don't know. Are you hearing me?
Yes, go ahead. All right. So, anyways, her internet is not permitting her. So, what we'll do is we'll just go on with the rest of the show. So, I have a few questions here for discussion. And the first discussion question is, and anyone, whoever wants to go first can chime in. But the first discussion question is it possible to be a nonprofit founder without being an entrepreneur in Liberia? Because nonprofit founders are also trailblazers. They're trying to solve social causes. And then entrepreneurs, likewise, they're trying to provide jobs and other employment opportunities. So, is it possible to establish a nonprofit and not go into entrepreneurship? Anyone can inject. Mr. Wesley, you want to go?
Because I'm the head of a nonprofit. That's why you're taking me first.
Yeah.
Um, it's kind of possible because most of the people who worked in the nonprofit in Liberia, especially community-based organizations, CBOs that are just coming up, are volunteers. And so you're not providing them job, but you're providing them with skills that are necessary for the job market. So it's kind of possible to, I don't want to say it's possible to have a nonprofit and not go into entrepreneurship because though the positions that they are occupying, that volunteers are occupying, are not doesn't come with economic benefits, but it comes with other benefits, such as exposure to skills, exposure to networking, exposure to diverse area of knowledge that equips them for the job market. So it's 50% true that an entrepreneur or a nonprofit might not be an entrepreneur, or a nonprofit organization may not go into entrepreneurship if, as per your definition, is economic benefits. I don't know whether
Yes.
you're getting my points.
So I kind of understand where you're coming from, but we're really asking, to phrase it up a different way, is if you're a nonprofit founder, you started off with a vision, and really your goal is to change your community, right? It's not for any profit. You just want to change or have a specific cause that you're trying to change. Is it possible to sustain that cause, to sustain your organization without finding another way to fund your organization through an entrepreneurial cost by having maybe a side business that profits from that side business is donated to the nonprofit in order to sustain the nonprofit. Do you understand the question now?
Yes, I do. In that line, no, it's not possible because sustainability is very key. You may be the only one funding the organization from your own personal resources, as many nonprofit funders are currently, but you will not be able to sustain the organization and have the impact that you will want to have when there is no funding or there is no alternative to sustain your action or your mission as an organization. So it's possible, but it's not healthy.
Right, right. Thank
Yeah.
you. Anyone else would like to add? Mr. Jones?
Ah,
The question on the table is, can you, I know you didn't start off as a nonprofit founder, but do you think that people can start a
So
nonprofit without,
can I ask?
yeah, go ahead, Mrs. Stokwa. Hmm. Go ahead.
Okay, so there is no organization, even a business. There is no organization. The There should be a reason why you established this non for profit. So the thing is to give back to society. Let me use myself as an example. At the and then I the passion just came about looking at where I came from, my roots, and I felt that other people, even though I never had a privilege to have everything that I needed growing up as a kid, but I think I want to make an impact too. And this organization happens to be the lead volunteers, even though I have incorporators, people who are brought on after I already came up with my ideas and every other thing. So I look at it, there's no way that I could do things that I wanted to do. So instead of doing it on a basis like I will use my own personal income to carry out, it's good to do good, but limit you can give what you don't have. So to do that and to have backing because I need more support. You want somebody else to help you, you have to help yourself first. So I came up with a sense I have a skill that I can do instead of me just sharing with others. Can humble share then.
Yes, we're hearing you.
Yes. So that's how I came about the flourish cakes to be able to help since the passion is charity and I'm not expecting anything from charity but put in. So I needed like-minded people, similar vision to come on board because I cannot say I will do everything all by myself. I need other people to. So I don't believe that no organization can tell me that they will run without funds, without a source of income. A need for a source of income because without that, at the end of the day, I don't think you're going to survive.
Yes. So, and you made some very valid points, and I like how you use your personal example. But it's the question is not really saying that can organizations run without a source of income. It is saying that that source of income can the founder not be the main source of income by having an established business outside of the nonprofit. So we want to know if you establish a nonprofit, are you able to not create another
Okay.
business that is for profit to support that nonprofit? That's what we're trying to do. And heavily rely on donations and from contributions from the government or other NGOs, because that's how most people are
Sure,
sustained. Most
yes, you
Mhm.
can.
But is it possible in Liberia,
Yes, you
looking at
can.
the
My
context of our
answer
country?
would be yes, you can.
Yeah, hello.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead,
so
Mr.
to that instant, right?
A person
I work with I work with some few NGOs here, and basically that's how they work. Especially for example, Nemo, right? I work with them on different tech products. So that how Nemo business model is it's like, although I said business model, but as an NGO for them, they engage with maybe the Swedish government or foreign donors for different programs that they draft, the different programs, then they get funding. So every time they get funding based on programs, and that's how the institution been running for 10 years plus. It's also possible for NGOs to work in that line.
It's
So let me
possible.
just chip in a little bit if I have the opportunity.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so usually grants work with organizations that have been around for a while and has, like we say in the Liberian way, have rubbed shoulder with top organizations. So to be able to get or secure a grant, you may have all of the usually in Liberia, nonprofit are challenged with office space. And secondly, most of the funding that we have, because it's from volunteers, is only for is it only covers operational costs. So it doesn't cover office space, but like program initiative and getting funding from top organizations like the embassy or international NGOs. You must have been working with other local NGOs, like for example, for my organization, for me to have a grant, I must have contract with either the Carter Center, um, the NSCP, and other organizations that operate in my scope. So that is very challenging because most of the time, if you are not very strategic in building network, you will not be able to get those fundings. So the best alternative to begin with is to create a sustainability plan wherein you have a mini business where you can support your nonprofit initiative from the proceed that are gathered from that mini business to be able to enable your operation until you have the um, integrity and you've built a space where people can trust you and say, oh, yes, we can get into business with this CSO or this CBO, and we will not have to worry about anything. The major
Yeah,
problem
I
like
think
is trust. And so is you what the point you're raising is right with Namod, but for other CSO like 2 years, three
yeah,
years CSO
oh,
is
yeah,
actually difficult to get
And
funding.
yeah,
and Miss
I
Mr.
agree.
Wesley,
So yeah,
that's a great point that I want us to focus on, because a lot of the trailblazers that we're talking about, these are not people with institutions that have been around for 10, 15 years that are established and have those relationships with other institutions to get those grants. So we're talking about newly founded institutions who maybe don't even know anybody. So if you're a newly founded institution, are you able to still function without the founder himself or the founder herself having an entrepreneur business on the side where the money is used to be donated back to your nonprofit?
can you please allow me come in?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One of you see we are part of this trailblazer thing, and you have to network as an organization. Networking is something that is key in terms if there's a need or there's an opportunity, and like we are part of this trailblazer thing, is we are already part of we are united as a team. So if the opportunity one of us can benefit from it easily, then though it's going to be something that we're going to compete for, but being of a network and you have an experience. One thing in trusty was something that they know they can see. You need to show the people a proof. Non for profit, a lot of young people in Liberia have sport this whole thing of non for profit and take it to be something left for their own profit instead of meeting the needs of other people. So other organization, people giving out grant, they want to see what you have. So you need to put in to gain something. You cannot put in nothing and then so you have to put in something. You need to have experience. What have you done over the years? So these are some of the questions that are applying for green. What have you done? Want to see your trademark? What are those things for other people? What are those things that you did? You have to show something and you have to stay connected. The organization, oh yes, I'm not a non-for-profit, I'm in my community. No, don't limit your dream to just being yeah, you should come up with something like action. You should think outside the box. So for me, I feel that major ways that people to get funds has been connection. You have to stay connected to make impact. Is not something easy. You have to push forward, make your way.
Miss Newell, would you
Hello.
want to add something to that? Mhm. Yes, if you want to go ahead. I think you might be muted if you're speaking, ma'am. You're still muted. We can't hear you.
I can't hear you.
I don't know if you can hear her, Mrs. Stokpa, but I still can't.
I can't hear her. I can't hear you, ma.
It's okay. Anyways, we'll move on to the next discussion
If you
point. And the next discussion point, I think she came back. Are you speaking? Go ahead. Still can hear you. She said echo. Welcome to Liberia for you. We need to do something about that. All the trailblazers that are on their call here, we got to fix the internet. But the next discussion point here is let's talk a bit about volunteerism. And Mr. Stokely, you kind of hit on it a bit, saying how people in Liberia has changed the context of what a nonprofit is and made it about themselves. So similarly, we're talking about volunteerism. Why is that important, and what role must volunteerism play in building our communities, in building our country? Why is volunteerism important? Mr. Jones, for example, you really your line of work does not have to do with volunteers, but I can imagine when you guys first started off, you needed to rely heavily on people who believe in the vision, which is primarily what a nonprofit is about. We need people who believe in the vision because if you believe in the vision, nothing else will get to pay you. That only belief can pay you. So, Mr. Jones, if you want to speak to that, why is volunteerism important? Maybe even in the for-profit sector.
Yeah, but yeah, before I go started Easy Market and me coming to us, okay. I hope my internet is not bad.
It's okay. You can go ahead.
You getting me?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, thank you. All right,
yes,
so
sir.
before I navigated my way into tech, I was a volunteer for multiple NGOs and institutions. So again, I think it helped me a lot too because while volunteering, I learned a lot of different skills and access to a lot of people. It's through my volunteering that I've built a lot of network. So personally important. So with that being said, in Easy Market, we develop something of such for all to volunteer and give back. So since we started Easy Market every month, we go on the field, find people, donate to them, volunteer, helping different ways. That's all we've been doing. But I was in an NGO space before coming to Easy Market because I use those opportunities that I was learning my tech and moving around tech. Also coming to the NGO space to network with people, learn from people. I think the network and volunteering also important, very important. Because if I was not a very good volunteer, I won't be part of many institutions. I'm a member of the Rotary Club of Liberia, of course. You see, in the Rotary body, we do a lot of volunteering. Many times we go on the field, donate to people, help out, volunteer to clean. A lot of things we do. So the spirit of volunteering always in me. So always do.
For sure, for sure. Anyone else? Mr. Wesley, the question on the ground is what role must volunteerism play to change our communities?
Volunteerism play a very essential role. I must say that from my observation and years of experience working in the nonprofit sector, about 3 years now, um, volunteers and like Liberian youth are actually passionate about volunteering. We have a lot of young people who want to find a space where they can at least be to gain some experience, some level of network, and so forth. So, that being said, volunteerism in Liberia is actually essential and it has helped a lot of young people. Most of the times, because the issue here is that the real jobs are not available. That's the reality. The real jobs are not available, and the only available jobs that are here is volunteerism. And volunteerism also has an extent um, as to how people giving their time and what's the return of it. So for many nonprofits, like my organization, rely on volunteers a lot. Um, the only issue or challenge that we have as an organization is being able to raise funds from those who volunteer is actually difficult because they are giving their time and they are people mostly they are people who are not employed, they are unemployed, and so getting even funding to pay dues is a challenge. But once the space is created wherein every volunteer feel accepted and they feel that the development of their growth is essential and is the heart of the one who is leading the organization, they give their best.
Okay. So it's up to us, the trailblazers, the ones who are, clearing the path to show that passion for others to follow as well.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome, awesome. Anyone else would like to add? What role do you think volunteerism has to play while we're trying to rebuild our community and our country? What must the role that volunteerism play?
Okay, so for me, I would say that volunteerism play a very essential, very important role because it allows those who are volunteering have added skills if they already have some, and it also gave you the opportunity to make an impact through that organization you are volunteering with, and it helped to build your self-esteem, and it also help it make you to get connected with other people, you network, you are exposed to other things, and meeting new people, learning from other people, like manner. For me, that's the important part that I love about volunteering. And I build so fast, and you are able to learn new skills to even apply if you have opportunity to have an opportunity to have a job. They will ask you for your experience, and you've been volunteering, and you, if you say volunteer, or you don't even have a job, and you are applying for so and so program, or so and so, you will need an experience, because nobody gonna doesn't have any experience. So you're gonna link your voluntary team. You volunteer at women led organization that also gonna help you build your CV. It's very important, even personally, and those who also joining the organization.
Awesome. Awesome. So for those of you who are watching and maybe saw volunteerism as not just maybe not exactly as a waste of time, but just something that does not lead to much. As you can see, if you want to get far in life, sometimes you have to get there by serving other people. And that's what volunteerism is putting the needs of other before yourself, and putting the needs of your community, your country before your own. So service puts you in a position to give back. And sometimes it's not all about money. So we have to give back our time. We have to give back everything else. And you do not need money to do that. And like the example that she gave, you will be surprised if you don't have the job experience and you're trying to apply for a scholarship. Well, these international institutions heavily believe in volunteerism. So what do you have to show for your application as far as your involvement in your community? Because if you do not have anything to add to your resume, any value to add to the school, what makes you different from somebody else that's trying to apply? You have to have something that stands you out, that makes you look unique, for them to be willing to make that investment in you. So it does not only help you
I'm
now
on a
by networking you with other people, it helps you in the future with things that you're not even planning for. So you got to be willing to give your service back, not just for the good of your community, but the good of your country. So that's volunteerism, and we're talking about how individuals can challenge themselves and be willing to give back. Another thing we're going to talk about is the social or corporate social responsibility. So Mr. Jones kind of highlighted it, and he mentioned how Easy Market is able every month to give back to their communities. So the social corporate responsibility for NGOs, for businesses, these are ways that they're able to immediately impact their community. And Liberia law requires that every business has a social corporate responsibility, which is them intently trying to develop the community where they find themselves or the country at large. So it's a requirement by law. However, most businesses do this out of their free will and out of the mere fact that they want to be involved and engaged in the community. So Mr. Jones already highlighted on that, but the question here is how can we as trailblazers communicate the significance of the social corporate responsibilities to all these big businesses that are making profits, but we don't see them reinvesting uh, back into our communities? How can we communicate that?
Yeah, I hope, yes. I was not getting you. Yeah, I missed most of your point. I wasn't getting.
So the question is, how can we communicate the significance of corporate social responsibility so that these big businesses who are making profits understand that they need to be reinvesting some of those profits within the communities that they are doing business?
Yeah, I think again that's a good question, but from the business point of view, I think most of businesses in Liberia are seeing that to be seasonal. So I noticed many businesses around Christmas time. That's when they are mostly involved, donating to the communities and being involved. There are other businesses like the GSM companies that are mostly involved regularly. So, but I think businesses need to understand that this in itself is another way to attract customers, because you are engaging with the communities, and the communities are your customers. If they are not even actively buying from you, but someone in that community at that time might be attracted to your business by the social corporate responsibility you are involved in regularly. So engaging with your community is very important for every business because we want to communicate our values, what matters to us, and how we see the communities we are in to be impactful to our brand, and it should speak volume in the services we offer. So most businesses need to understand that this alone is another way to, uplift your public image as a brand, because the brand itself speaks different volumes and speaks in different tones, and we want to communicate our brand, understand that the people around us need us, people around us are our customers, and they are someone we value. So every business needs to be involved in the communities and giving back and supporting. It can also be other way of support. Maybe you want to bring in more interns, more young people to train, offer more jobs, opportunity or skill development. There are different ways businesses can be involved. And I think more business need to do this, except, unless the every 20th or Christmas, maybe Christmas, every Christmas, December give back program I will see it. But I think it should be a regular thing that a lot of businesses will involve to being around and see what happens in our communities.
Yep, I agree, and you made some very valid points. So there are different ways you can do it. Everyone doesn't have to use the same strategy. Some of them can even be providing scholarship opportunities for students that are in that community. But the point of you saying that doing that also is a benefit for your business because it's showing people can get attracted to your business and maybe become potential customers. I think that's an amazing point. So, Mr. Wesley, do you have anything that you would like to add?
Yeah, I think the issue of for-profit organizations in Liberia that are working, or businesses that are operating for profit, social corporate responsibility to the community to which they operate is something that is not a custom, like I may say, to Liberia. I think there need to be more awareness on the need for for businesses to get involved in reaching out to their community. Most of the times, these these laws are on the books, but the implementation is a problem in Liberia. And so the question is, what happens if an organization who is operating for about, sorry, I have not read the law and may not have a clear appreciation of what it says, but what happens if an organization or a business who has been working or getting profit from a certain community has not been able to reach out to the community to be able to help the communities? What happens to them? We've seen events of riots where community come up and say that, like for example, mining companies in the rural communities are damaging their streams and their source of income, and it's making them sick, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, the issue of corruption is always an issue in Liberia. So I think it needs a national approach to come on. The Ministry of Commerce and other line ministries needs to be very key on this, including the House of the Legislature, because this is a national issue. We've had a lot of organizations, a lot of businesses who operates in communities, but what they are giving back to the community cannot be compared to what they are getting out.
Mhm.
And sometimes they are not even giving anything to the communities. So to address this, it must be a collective and national approach. Like I said, government ministries should be very involved and very key on the backs of organizations and businesses operating in in
Yeah,
communities,
I,
and
I would like to
also
comment.
Also, other civil society organizations, like civil society organizations, have played a key role in Liberia, raising the awareness and exposing some of these ills in society. Um, like there was an event where in somewhere around bombing, there was this company who took the people land and was not meeting up with the promise that is enshrined in the Land Rights Act. And civil society organizations came out, brought that organization to book. So the issue here is not that people in government or people who occupy the seat of the servants, like our local representative, are not aware of some of these issues. But corruption is always something that is keeping us down. It's always keeping us down because everyone is trying to get something to put in their pockets, which should not be so. Sometimes there are events wherein companies say that, oh, we like, if you look at bombing, the bombing highway, there is this company, I cannot really get the name of this company, but this company is a mining company operating in a bombing, and there was this agreement on they fixing the road. But the government of Liberia said, give us the money, we're going to fix the road. And if you look at the road now, fault of politics, um, is not what it should be. So the issue of corruption is very key when it comes to businesses uh, actually um, actually meeting up with that social corporate responsibility. Is it's not reaching the community if they are giving it, and sometimes they are not giving it. And there because there is this issue of corruption, so it's very difficult and it breaks the heart of
Yeah,
young people
I would like to
to
come into
continuously
to
see
that point.
this continuously see this happening. Sorry, I just like to mention this, that um, it's sad that the days of our grandparents are better than ours. And every
Absolutely.
time you imagine your grandfather telling you that when Lamco was Lamco and Liberia was this, but you look at Liberia now, like it's sad, so sad.
And I agree, but not to lose all hope.
A
Just
lot,
keep in mind
a
that
lot
what
of
we're
that.
experiencing now is temporal, and it will not last. It will not persist. So it's definitely true that I've heard my aunts tell me stories about how they used to have school buses pick them up when they were in the county. In I believe she lived in Nimba or somewhere, and then she had a garbage man pick up her garbage every week. And then when she came to Morovia, she was very surprised because her life in the country was way better than the life in Morovia. So these are stories that I myself have heard in my own family. So, but just because it's gotten the way it is, that's why we have trailblazers to go ahead and try to clear the path or, remove the debris from, our ancestors. But do not lose hope. We're still here and we're still going to make things better. But Mr. Jones, you've been
Yeah,
trying to say something. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. I wanted to talk something. So, again, that's about businesses being accountable to the communities. There are other ways we could do this. Innovative way we could look at this, right? I think it should be a public-private partnership. So you do similar systems that they use to give businesses for access to funds, right? So if we can enable a grading system for businesses to see how they are more socially responsible to their community, business will take it serious about giving back. So, for example, right, there are countries that implement such plans. So, for a business to receive funding, for a business to get grant, for not grant, but loans, or maybe government contracts or government-related programs, or maybe foreign support, businesses should be skilled, right? There should be like a chart to grade a business on how socially responsible they are. What are the programs that they are supporting? How are they giving back to the community? If there's a public-private effort on this, you'll see businesses will be involved. Institutions like the Chamber of Commerce, the Ministry of Commerce, can be involved with the Liberian Business Association and implement us. If you just implement a grading system for businesses, And so let's say the business or before business funding or get specific contracts or specific law to support them. If we grading this business on that scale, you'll see business will take it seriously because at the end of the day, if it's something that important to that growth and people is grading them based on how they are supporting our community, they will take it seriously. And you see what happened in the West and other countries. If we implement such strategy here, a lot of things will change because now business will say, oh no, I'm in this community, I need to give back, else my school for this will reduce. And they know if their school reducing that like they will, banks might not give them loans or government might not give them contracts. So we should look, our institutions should look into that type of public-private partnership and see how we creating businesses. And that will really speed up the process because if we just want to do it on the legislature and say this is a law, a lot of people ban law in the country. But if it's a partnership across every sector, they're saying businesses that have good schools, right, and giving back that most socially responsible can access funding, can get contract. You see, there are a lot of change. So that's just my feedback on that point.
Yeah. And that's a very unique approach, to be honest. I definitely agree that until we can get a hold of the legislatures holding people accountable, we can still find other solutions. So, absolutely agree with that. Now, overall, both of you, are there anything that maybe any other prevailing topics that you think prevent or hinder trailblazers in Liberia from propelling in their journey that we need to address here today or talk about?
I don't know, I finally have to get you.
Mr. Wesley, did you hear me?
Yes, I did. I did hear what you said.
Okay.
Um, we spoke about fundings. We spoke about volunteerism. These are two key issues that are a challenge to trailblazers or entrepreneurs in Liberia. Um, the other issue I would like to mention is this issue of experience, right? Many a times youth are denied opportunities because quote unquote they are inexperienced. And I would like to use this medium to bring that out to the listeners and people who are going to listen to this video or watch this video after this meeting. Um, Even those of us who boast of experience were inexperienced when we were given the opportunity to actually do what we're doing now, what we boast of to say that we have experience, we have X amount of years of experience. So I would like to push this out to our fathers, our mothers, our mentors, those of us who've have grown up in our careers to give young people the opportunity because most times young organizations apply for grants, young organizations apply for funding, young people send in applications. Sometimes it's not based on their structure of writing. So most cases, their writing are up to point. They go to the interview, they perform very well, but they are denied opportunities because they don't have the experience. So I'd like to plead to uh, to the public and those in the employ to kindly find time to create a culture of mentorship in Liberia so that youth are empowered uh, to build those same skills that you have, to build those same uh, skills and other soft and hard skills that you have that you boast of and experience also. I'm begging the indulgence of the entrepreneurs. I'm begging the indulgence of businesses. I'm begging the indulgence of executive directors to give young people the opportunity to be mentored because there is actually a couple of young people who are not on, like we say in Liberia, are not on cruise. They are striving for better to better themselves and to better their community. So if we can give them a little helping hand, they can be able to do better. And so let's try and give them an opportunity to at least um, do better. There's not only a problem that is applicable to urban youth, but even rural youth also have issues with being given the opportunity. Like in rural Liberia, I know this is not with our topic, but in rural Liberia, youth are denied access to land. Youth are denied access to plant certain type of crops because of cultural norms and traditions, and these are things that are hampering the social economical independence of youth in Liberia. And I'm just begging us, those of us who uh, have X amount of experience, to find at least 4 or 5 young people to mentor, build them up to have those same experience that you have, because you're not going to stay there forever. You're going to be leaving, and if you're leaving, who are you going to be leaving those skills with? We always say in Liberia, the youth are the future, the youth are the future. But if the youth are not empowered, how can they enably lead the future? So I just wanted to bring that out, and that is something that is actually hampering the progress of nonprofit in Liberia. And it's also hampering the social economic independence of youth at large in Liberia.
Thank
Okay,
you,
so my brother,
Mr. West.
point is a point that was made, but to add to that, not force people to give them lab skills or to force them to have experience. It's a good thing to share what you have, but those you are sharing away, are they willing to learn what you already have learned? So, just an example, I do Patriots, and my organization, we do our outreach in we have done it in 5 different counties. So we went in the Magibi area, we went in Magibi, certain portion of Magibi, to provide lab skills for young women, like Patriots. So while we got a listing, we went and worked with the leadership within that area in the community, and then the listing was given to us. Their numbers were also given to us. So we planned a time that we're going to do the teaching those young ladies how to be various pastries. So this day was set and everything. They weren't available. The other person say, "Oh, we have to go and sell our mother market. We have to go and sell this. We have the other schedule. We have this other engagement." I put in my own resources. I put in my everything in it, my time, my money, buying the materials that are going to train you with, and you're not available. So how can you? Do you think that? How can I help in that situation? How can I help someone who is more basic than myself? I who willing to share my knowledge that I learned. I pay money to learn it, but I'm giving it to someone free.
Okay,
Fair.
so I think the
I want
question
to
is
come in.
is addressed to me. The first question I'd like to ask: were there any prior information sharing as to the intent of the program, the goal of the program, what participants get to benefits, and what will be their role, what is expected of them? Or it was just like, we want to do this, give us a listing, and then the community
No,
give. Sometimes it works that the people we pass through to do community entry just select people without even informing them in some instances. And in other instances, those people are informed, but they don't have the appreciation of the kind of benefit that that program is going to bring to them. And when those two
though.
are not settled, we always have problem.
Okay, so to answer that, we partner with Foundation for the Advancement of Girls, and during our partnership last year, we were able to work with Foundation for the Advancement of Girls to provide sanitary pads to those seeing young people. during that time that the sanitary pass were given to them, we used that medium to also come up that, oh, we are coming up with so and so pills, so we are not only just as an organization to share paths with you. You're going to use it, and at the end of the day, you're going to finish, and you will need money to get it. So our own contribution as an organization, Project Change, I beg your pardon, I beg your pardon. Women in the organization, as our own contribution to this, to help you to always have money, because as a young lady, it's something that naturally going to happen to you. And Foundation for the Advancement of Girls will not always come to you, to your aid, to provide sanitary pads for you every month. So we have lab skills for you and use to sell your goods. Once you learn how to do the therapy, then you want to get money, you want to have means of handling money to help yourself. So that was the means of you. That was part of the they came up with a thing, and those the leader of that community, and that was how they put it. And their contact, we communicated with them before going. There was a communication that line was open. So it was this we just probably we talk about that when before. I hope are you getting me now? Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes. Hmm.
Did you hear me?
We heard some of what you said.
Yeah.
I don't know if Mr. Wesley wants to add on to that, but we did hear some of what you said.
Yeah, I want
Yes,
to come.
yeah, let
Go ahead,
Jones
sir.
come in, please.
Discussion. I think it's right. It's very different. On a business, businesses always need a lot of people to be involved. But again, right?
Yes.
I think a lot of young people need to that that phone hire people at that time, right? Uh, right? The easy way access to employment in the institution is to go volunteer for the institution. If you maybe say half of that block, a lot of young people training for we have no experience. This is one people that get better.
That's the thing.
Most institution appears that businesses are asking for, and they're using all their time, the 4 years they get the degree for to get a degree, right? No one said a bad thing, but there are other days, most of the university, you're going there for 5 days in a week. They're all one day or another that you're free. You should try our best. You should try your best to, get a bit knowledge, volunteer over institution, which is important. That we've been looking for a lot of young people. Currently, all the young people are working in Easy Market. They came through volunteering, right? And that's how we hire people, because we all want to see how committed you'll be to the business operation. At that time, people come in, oh, I want to work with Easy Market, but then they're expecting, we haven't put up our application up at that time, but you're expecting us to hire you and start paying you extra money, right? So currently we have people that are here working full time, but it's through volunteering that we later employ them. So a lot of young people need to know that if you want job and you see that institution having put up of no application of a vacancy, go try and ask whether you can volunteer. By volunteering, you can get access to working at that particular institution. You don't want to graduate 4 years with a degree, then no company want to accept you based only on that degree because they also want experience. But you are in the university, you are going there for 3 days a week. 2 days else there for you to go volunteer, you sit down home. So people need to understand how to plan a schedule and see how you don't be
you,
embarrassed
you sit
when
at
you
home.
graduate institutional higher education.
Yeah, another word for
That's it.
volunteerism. Yeah, another word for volunteerism in the context of business is internship. So it's the same as internship is what he's saying. So if you're in school, make sure you're finding internships where you will not be paid, but you still get that experience. So very, very good point, Mr. Jones. Now we're coming close to the time here. I do want to give each of you the floor to, say anything else to the audience or those that are watching or maybe watching at a later time, just on what you think is we need as trailblazers in Liberia, and just encourage maybe somebody that's in your position right now when you first started off, they are going through those same experiences. Just serve as a mentor or a person to encourage and motivate them in their journey. So we'll start from you, Mrs. Stopa, if you want.
Okay, so what I was saying is, what's happened is in me and we is so all of said that do something. You don't have with you and to work at the Ministry of Information or other agencies. You have to they are all community, all non for profit. They go before national scene. We can do something. Let's all help in being a change that we want to see first within our community before going out there. So join your fellow young people, join those organizations that you see around you that you think you're gonna make an impact instead of you going to join them for what you can get. Don't It shouldn't be that mentality. We need to change that mentality because we are young people who want to see change. How can we change if we all sit back and don't put ourselves in that shoes? Let's unite ourselves. The change we want to see in our communities. If you're out there and you're watching us and maybe you're a young lady, you want to join an organization, women in organization, you can just hit us up on Facebook, send us a message, or maybe you need your lab skills that we are waiting to provide lab skills to you out there, especially young women and girls. You can contact us and we're gonna schedule you and then provide lab skills that you need. But I will encourage you out there, ladies, please don't sit home doing nothing. Do something. That's all I have from my end. Thanks so much to all of our trailblazers here for sharing your knowledge, and I'm grateful to be part of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wesley, do you want to go next? Just for anyone watching, what advice would you give them for those who are early in their trailblazing journey?
Yeah, just before I address your question, can I just give a rebuttal to Mr. Jones' analysis?
Of course, go ahead.
Yeah, probably maybe from your department and the university you attended in for of us who exist, like and still to us, fine. They are full
Yes,
time.
yeah,
Um, they are quite us.
yeah. Other institutes, other departments, of course.
Yeah, just was
No, no, I'm going to rebuttal that too, Mr. Wesley, because let me tell you, right? For somebody who has the passion to do something or wants to do something, it doesn't matter your schedule. You will create the time. You will create the time. If passion is leading you, if you truly want to better yourself, you will create the time. So even if you go to school Monday to Friday, I can guarantee you, you're not in school from 7 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock in the afternoon. You come home probably in the afternoon, and you can use that 2 hours in the afternoon to do some internship work. Or let's say you're busy the whole week. After weekend, you can find a business that's working on the weekend that will allow you to work on the weekend, and you can still gain that experience. It's a matter of how much you want something, how much you want it, you will be able to create the time. How much is driven by passion? But I would not say that it is based on the person's schedule. If the person really wants to find an opportunity to advance themselves, they can do it. Regardless of the country, regardless of where they are, you can do it. It might be more pressure, it might be more to handle, but it is still possible.
Yes, I do agree with you. Passion drives life. Um, in closing, I would like to firstly encourage you to uh, find themselves. I'd like to encourage young entrepreneurs and other youth around Liberia and the world at large to find themselves, because most of us are misplaced. We got involved in career, or we got engaged in activity based on engagement of our friends, or something that were triggered by, like Jones mentioned. Sometimes parents come out and say that I'm not going to support you to do XYZ. The only thing I'm going to send you to school for is if you are willing to do this. And that has misplaced most of us. And I would just like to encourage adolescents and youth across Liberia and the world at large to find themselves. Because if you find yourself and find what you're passionate about, it's very easy to go into that line and follow suit with what you have passion and is your heartbeat. But if you have not identified that, you're always driven by the wind. They will be you themselves. You're passionate about what is it proud of, what that you love. Maybe very even doing it. I'm passionate about helping others become the very best version of themselves. So it is. I'm willing to create time to one or two young people make better. So I'm telling you this. I'm no Antonio West. I am the at FASA. FASA is an advocacy and human development organization. We are passionate about building youth um, capacity to meet up with the current challenges that are in Liberia. And so the very first way to meeting up with that is to help you find themselves. And I'm encouraging everyone to look deep in yourself and find that specific thing that you actually want to do. That if you were given the opportunity, with all of the challenges that you have now, if that wasn't in the picture, if everything was going well, what will you be doing? I want you to find that and start doing it. It may be small, it may be one step, like Martin Luther said. Whatsoever it is, do not stop moving. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wesley. Very powerful words. Mr. Jones, back to you.
Yeah,
Anything that you
thanks
would like to
again.
advise? Mhm.
Yeah, thanks again. So, I'm Chris B. Jones, and I'm one of the co-founders of Easy Market. We are Liberia's e-commerce platform that connect the diaspora with Liberians businesses to support them, but also for Liberians here to take advantage of the opportunities we provide as an online platform. But to close, I would like to mention, say something meaningful for entrepreneurs. I think our Liberian businesses and Liberian entrepreneurs, especially the Liberians, young people that want to venture in the field of entrepreneurship, you guys need to forget about all the issue happening around us. I know this election season and we'll hear all the negative thing about Liberia in this period, and that's the truth. And young people, young person try thinking about starting a business currently will actually be deterred, right? Because we hear a lot of negative stuff about the country in the next 4 months, the next 3 months. So a lot of infrastructure issue, a lot of problems. But the truth is, we need these problems as entrepreneurs because It is problems that create us as entrepreneurs. We need to solve a particular problem. Without a problem, there's no entrepreneur. You need to have your unique selling point because you need to uniquely solve a problem. And the reward for solving a problem is what you want to get. When you solve a particular problem, you recognize as an entrepreneur, you impacting people's life, you generating revenue, you have a business like growing. So we need to forget about all the negative thing about Liberia, all of the harmful, all of the bad infrastructure issue we know about our country, but also need to be proud that we are in Liberia. If you think about it, if Liberia was has infrastructurally developed like every country around us, right? You really think a lot of young people will get access to compete in the marketplace? It will be difficult. Now that the country is growing in that path, it's important for young people to venture into this space as soon as possible as entrepreneurs. You need to take advantage of the opportunity because competition is one thing in business that you can stop, right? We want to be part of the ecosystem and grow our economy. Else, if you're waiting for Liberia to be as developed as possible, then you have foreign competitors and other bigger, people with more money competing in spaces that you want to compete in the beginning, and you're not in the position to compete. So you have to start now, start every idea you're working on, forget about the negative things around you and start. Basically, that's what we need to do. We also individuals too that want to take advantage of tech. I think that's more difficult for you because if I say entrepreneur in general, a lot of way could get started, but as a tech entrepreneur, it's more impossible. People don't believe in anything concerning tech in Liberia. So you don't have to be deterred. It will take time before Liberian adjust. When you tell Liberian man that you develop any technology, that don't take it serious because at the end of the day, we only expect Zuckerberg and Elon Musk to be the tech people in the world. So you get half of Liberian to trust Liberian with any technology stuff. So as any entrepreneur that want to develop a tech platform, you need to believe in yourself, believe that you can do it, but also not get discouraged by all the you hear around you. So the close, I recently started my own. You talk about, I think one of our colleagues talk about mentorship and giving back. Recently, I started a tech mentorship program for upcoming funders. And currently, I have three young people and a young person that are developing specific tech products around transportation, um, different medical products that we helping them to develop that solution. So I want to be involved in many young person life, giving back, helping them to start the idea they want to start. Hopefully next year I might bring in more young people to mentor along the way. But it's a tough journey. We need to start. We need to be proud of it in Liberia because Liberia gave us an opportunity to compete in the marketplace that you can never have in other economies. So thank you again.
Of course. And thank you all for your very meaningful inputs. I appreciate you making the time today to be on here. We hope that what you have shared is meaningful to those who will watch and who are watching. But thank you guys. This has been the second anniversary of the Trailblazers Connect. And until next year, thank you for joining us. Take care. God bless you. And God bless Mama Liberia. Bye.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Grace Choma Baba, founder of Destiny Creative Organization and owner at Genesis Snacks. You are watching the 1847 show. The 1847 show celebrates you, me, and all things Liberian. Follow the 1847 show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. The 1847 show, all things Liberian.